This time, Boosie didn't need anyone to create the spotlight for him, because the moment took off completely on its own. The story started spreading across timelines, headlines, and blogs, with people reposting and sharing it everywhere once again. But what makes this situation different is that it appears to be a calculated move, because Boosie stepped forward with a brand new diss track titled Reality Chick, where he directly takes aim at names like Jay-Z, Caleb Williams, and DJ Vlad. This wasn't just a random release, it was a move designed to spark conversation, and as you'll see, the reaction has already started turning heads.
Like you, how could you live with this?
I can't play the entire track or share the full audio because of copyright restrictions, but the bigger story here is why Boosie released it and what conversation he wanted to create. This move was clearly designed to get people talking, and he went straight after Jay-Z by bringing up the Ramir Satwait case, where allegations were made claiming Jay-Z was his biological father and that a DNA test was being requested. That situation had been dragging on for years, but earlier this year, in January, the case was officially dismissed. Jay-Z and his legal team reportedly pushed back successfully, and the ruling resulted in the case being thrown out with prejudice, along with legal fees that were said to be around $120,000. The argument from Jay-Z's side was that the claim was being used for attention and as a legal weapon, while Boosie's side maintained that he was simply searching for answers and closure. Now, when people look at the two side by side, many have pointed out the physical similarities, and that alone has kept the conversation alive. You can't deny why people are curious, but Boosie also understood something important. Controversy creates attention. When I listened to the track and compared it to the classic Boosie records, the difference was obvious. I recently went back through some of those older Webby and Boosie playlists, and those records had a certain quality and energy that made them stand out. So, keeping it completely honest, this new one didn't hit the same way for me. Music is always subjective, and someone else might hear it differently, but knowing what Boosie is capable of musically, I felt like this was a record that maybe should have stayed unreleased. But at the same time, I believe Boosie knew exactly what he was doing. He understood that the topic itself would create reactions, debates, and headlines, and that's exactly what happened. Now, when it comes to Caleb Williams, Boosie continued pushing the same message he has been standing on for a while. And in this particular conversation, I understand why many people agree with his viewpoint about the way certain images and trends are being promoted. If you followed this platform, you already know that whenever Boosie has spoken against what he views as behavior that negatively impacts the image of black men, he has consistently received support here. He has never been afraid to step into uncomfortable conversations, and that willingness to speak out is one of the reasons he continues to stay part of these bigger cultural debates.
Nah, bro, I just feel like, they mad because the truth hurts. I come up under Tecmo, bro. I never thought in a million years that I would see a Madden cover with one of the best players with his fingernails painted. A game that sold to billions of little boys. When is enough, man? John Madden turning over in his grave.
When you step onto the cover of a major platform like Madden, you become more than just a player. You become a representation of the entire NFL brand. Caleb Williams is undoubtedly a talented athlete, but the way certain parts of his image have been marketed, including moments during the draft, is something Bowie clearly disagreed with. His argument is that he doesn't see anything positive or beneficial coming from that type of message when it comes to men. He's not interested in endless debates or trying to convince everyone to see things his way. He simply stated his position and stood on it. And that's where Bowie gets respect from some people, because he's willing to say out loud what many others privately think. A lot of individuals may share similar opinions, but they stay silent because they're worried about upsetting fans, losing opportunities, or damaging future business relationships. They choose to avoid the conversation completely. Boosie, being independent and less restricted by industry expectations, doesn't feel the need to hold back. But he also turned that same energy toward DJ Vlad, making it clear that he believes he can create success without depending on platforms like Vlad TV. He claimed he made $1 million in one night and suggested he could host gambling events at his own home multiple times a week, charging $25,000 per entry. His message was simple. He believes he has built enough value that he doesn't need anyone else's platform to stay relevant.
I don't need Vlad. I don't need the free.
Boosie's message was basically saying he doesn't need to explain himself or chase conversations with anyone. And even though he said the track wasn't meant to be a diss record, once you start naming people, questioning what they've accomplished, and making it clear that you don't need them, people are naturally going to view it as a direct shot. That's just how these situations work. Now, when it comes to Boosie and Vlad, we've already seen the tension and the fallout between them. And one thing is clear, Boosie has proven he can make money with or without Vlad. But at the same time, Vlad is almost guaranteed to respond because this situation has already become major content for him. For weeks, the topic has continued coming up on his platform, with guests being asked about Boosie, interviews being done around the situation, and the conversation constantly being kept alive. From my perspective, there were moments where the discussion started crossing into disrespect, especially when Boosie's finances, his hustle, investments, and business decisions were being analyzed publicly. It got to the point where people started questioning whether the relationship was really a friendship or if it was always just business. And to be fair, looking at the beginning of the situation, I do believe Boosie could have handled certain things differently. He had his reasons for feeling the way he did, but once the money side of the situation became the focus, that changed everything. If Vlad truly explained all the revenue generated from that interview and showed that Boosie was receiving a fair or even larger portion, then you would have to acknowledge that Vlad handled his business the way he felt was right. Boosie was asking for more, but Vlad has always been clear that he operates from a business-first mindset. He's not looking at every relationship through the lens of friendship, where people just help each other out financially. He treats everything as a business transaction. And honestly, that has always been his approach. But Boosie also played a role in creating this situation. He continued working with Vlad because the partnership was still beneficial and the money was still coming in. There have been plenty of moments where Vlad has been criticized for how he handled other situations, but we didn't see Boosie publicly speak on those issues. However, once Boosie felt he was personally affected and believed he deserved more financially, he took that conversation straight to the internet, and that's where the entire dynamic between them changed.
We couldn't come up with an agreement. He didn't want to pay me. I wanted $5,000 more than he wanted to pay me. He didn't want to pay me, so I think I'm gonna make more money doing it this way.
On there for seven months. How am I asking for too much money? On a year basis, I feel I saved him money. That's how I feel, and I told Vlad that. But for you to say that I'm asking for too much money, you're not looking at the...
So this is where it's at now, but...
So this is where everything stands right now. But one thing about Boosie is undeniable. He's a hustler. He's always been someone who finds a way to make money, whether that's through shows, appearances, promotions, or whatever opportunity comes his way. He doesn't need Vlad TV to survive or stay active in the game. Now, did Vlad TV help keep Boosie's name circulating, keep him in conversations, and bring more attention to him? Absolutely. There's no denying that. But at the same time, Boosie was also bringing value back to Vlad's platform by creating moments that people wanted to watch. There were definitely viewers who clicked on Vlad TV specifically whenever Boosie appeared because they wanted to hear what he had to say. That attention benefited both sides. But when Boosie stepped out today with this move, whether people agree with the approach or not, one thing is clear. It accomplished exactly what he wanted. It got people talking.